Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakya Chakshulmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Namavam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarane Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Thank you very much to give me an opportunity to be sharing some thoughts on Ramayana, and the topic is Kaikeyi and her downfall in the influence of Mantara. You all must be knowing that tomorrow night, between 7 and 8, we have the Mayapur deities coming as Rath Yatra. I hope all of you have joined that. This is specially for ICC members. So it's an opportunity that we will pull the Rath, which we did about 12 days back. So shall I go ahead?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. So the topic of what you have chosen is very interesting, at the same time very thought-provoking pastime of a great devotee, that is Kaikeyi. So if you look at her previous, before this episode, she was more loving Ramchandra than her own son. So from that we can understand, by the influence of Maya, by the influence of time, anyone can fall for it. So just to go into the details, just to give a prelude to Ramayana, I mean, this pastime, you can see that Maharaj Dashrath, he just passed his mirror in his, his palace. So when he was seeing himself, he saw quite a few white hairs. So the white hairs was registered by him, and he immediately thought, oh, I've grown old. So the moment, that was only few white hairs, the few white hairs made him think, oh, I've grown old, so I should be not doing what I'm doing now. So Kamba Ramayana also expresses this. It says that the white hairs spoke to Dashrath through his ears. It seems, that's what he quotes. He says, it's the time for you to hang up and bring Ram as the king. So Dashrath goes back immediately, meets all his people, all the ministers and his close cabinet people, and he discusses with them that this is what he's thinking. So the moment he talked about this, all the ministers, they were in one voice. Wow, it is a great opportunity. And my dear king, you are doing the right thing, including Vashishta. So when this was done, then Dashrath also, he said, okay, now I've got your permission. What about the people of this country? So he goes and announces that this is what he's planning to do the next day. He wants to coronate Ramchandra. So he goes to the public and announces from the top of his palace that this is what he's planning to do. It was a one voice by everyone, yes, this is good. For a moment, Dashrath Maharaj was taken aback. What? The people were waiting for me to go. Even though internally he was very happy, but still he asked, are you people fed up with me? But the people of Ayodhya, they glorified Ramchandra and all the qualities he possesses. So, and you are the father, so you are doing the right thing. By hearing that, Dashrath Maharaj becomes very peaceful and is very happy that the people of Ayodhya want Ram as the king. And he comes back and he decides to have he calls for Ram, and Ram comes. At the same time, he tells him that, my dear son, I have decided to make you the king tomorrow. This is the early morning, so you have to do some austerities and things like that. He said, but Ram, he was neither happy nor unhappy. So you should take this point, that Ram was not bewildered at all, either way. So he took it as an order of a king and he followed it. So when he goes back, he tells Sita, this is what they're planning. So make preparation for austerities. So austerities means they were supposed to fast and supposed to sleep on the floor. There were many things described in Valmiki Ramayana. It's very interesting how Ram took all the austerities to follow his father's words. A Kshatriya Dharma is also keeping words of his father, so he kept it. In the meantime, this was going on and the whole Ayodhya was decorated and a lot of, jubilant. They were all in great, the happiness was beyond anybody's comprehension. So at that time, there was this Mantara, Kubja. She was one of the Dasi who came along with Kaikeyi from her father's house. Very interesting to know that this Mantara's origin, nobody knows. It says in the Ramayana, especially Valmiki Ramayana, it says clearly there is no head or tail. We don't know anything. Whether they know about the parents, where he's coming from. But she was with Kaikeyi and she was there. Very peculiar woman. She had a lot of attachment for Kaikeyi. At the same time, she was not very favorable to others. So she was just walking around and she went on top and she saw the whole Ayodhya being decorated and everybody in a joyous mood, flower decoration, plant and banana, so many things were happening. Somebody was putting rangoli. Everything was happening and she was wondering what's happening. So at the same time, there was one another Dasi who was also looking at what's happening. And she goes to her and she says that, she asks her, well, how come that, what's happening? What's the special? At that time, the other Dasi says, you don't know. Tomorrow is our king, Ram, is going to be, Raj Pattabhishekam will happen tomorrow. And she was so jubilant. The girl, the way she was telling, she was jumping with joy. So now the moment she was jumping with joy and the word Ram came, immediately Mantara was taken aback. She almost sat down, what's happening? So she grabbed her energy and there's something about Mantara. It seems that in young days, Um, it looks like Ram has hit the ball on her when they were playing. And she had kept that also in the mind. It says, Shastra is telling. So she was nursing that he has hit me. So sometimes it's very dangerous to carry the injury caused by others. It's like scratching the wound, Should always let the wound dry off by the medicines. But if you keep scratching, it's dangerous. So Ram had forgotten unknowingly this has happened. But nevertheless, she had her master, who was Kaikeyi. She came running. And she uses a particular word. And she sees that Kaikeyi was sleeping, very beautiful, fully decorated, all jewels, everything. She was taking a casual sleep. She comes and shakes her up immediately and says that you get up. The word she uses is Valmiki Ramayana says, Uttista mude kim sheshe bhayam tvabhirtate upaplatham meghena kimitam na buddhese. That means to say, says a muda. She calls her a muda. She says, get up, you fool. There is no danger going to fall on you. You're always used to boast that my husband always loves me more than anybody. What has been done? So like that she speaks. But Kaikeyi, she knows her for a long time, even like a motherly feeling, kind of like a well-wisher. She didn't take it as a offense. She coolly said that, yeah, what happened? What's the problem? The way she spoke, it was so sweet. The Mantara became more agitated. So, is everything all right with you? What's wrong? Has our children come back? Like that, she started speaking. But every time she was speaking, first thing she was speaking about Ram. How is Ram? Is he good? Has he come back? So all that was going on, and every time she was talking about Ram, and Mantara was making a wrong, faces crooked. So the same character you can also find in Mahabharata, where Shakuni played that role. Maybe these two characters, what we can understand is, maybe it's the will of the Lord. But we can't say just the will of the Lord. How do we take it? How do we see that? That is important. Two things you have to understand is, one is the will of the Lord, then there is sanction of the Lord. So Kamba Ramayana explains that it was the order of the Devatas who were already great suffering because of Ravans. So they created this character Mantara. Because if Ram becomes the king, and then where will he meet Ravan? So he explains that the sinful activities of Ravan came as the white hairs on Dashrath Maharaj. So this is the explanation given by that Acharya. So many places where some portions of Kamba Ramayana, even Prabhupada accepts, where Kamba accepts that the real Sita was actually gone down. She got hidden by Bhudevi. At the same time, it was a Maya Sita which came. But this is not explained from Valmiki. But nevertheless, there is no confrontational mood. Kambar also has a very good reputation. In fact, his lectures, even Lord used to come and hear, I believe. So that was like that. Anyhow, rest keeping aside. So you could see the moment she said that Ram, Mantara says, you fool, Ram is going to become the king tomorrow. And your son and you will be nowhere. That's what she's trying to say. The moment she said Ram is going to be coronated tomorrow, immediately she gave her best jewel to Mantara. See, this shows the nature of a loving person. When we love somebody, we want best thing to happen. So all of us in our life, we have come across so many things. We have come across such instances where we are jubilant of our children, our nation, our country. So it extends. Our love and affection extends right from our family to the world. So the moment she gives that, she gets more irritated and she actually throws that off. So the moment she throws it, and Kaikeyi is actually not bewildered at all. Now actually Kaikeyi takes so much of an effort to explain to Mantara that Ram is more dear to me than Bharata. So in that way, she goes on explaining to Mantara, and Mantara would not allow those words to change herself. She was bound upon to see that Bharata is coronated. But when this interaction were going on, even Devatas for some time, they were also very much little scared because Ram has to go to the forest. So they were also worried. They were thinking what's going to happen. So in this way, you can see that every aspect of our spiritual life is well guarded by the 33 crore devatas, and they are too protected by Brahma, Shiva, and also Lord Vishnu. So in this regard, you can see that the way Kaikeyi was seeing Mantara, her eyes was actually burning with so much that she was trying to pacify her. So when she threw the jewel for that time, she started telling the other aspects of what happens if Rama becomes the king. You know that Dashrath Maharaj had more than 300 queens, and out of them 3 were his principal queen. And she was a very dedicated wife, Kaikeyi. She had helped him in a war, and at the same time Kausalya was the main queen, the eldest, and Ram was born to her. Now when she was trying to talk about Ram, the influence of those talks was not felt by Kaikeyi. So now Mantara started telling, what are you thinking? Okay, Ram, but Ram's mother is Kausalya, your counterpart. Okay, you like Ram, that is fine. But what about Ram's mother, Kaikeyi? She will become the main queen. Huh? Then she will start bossing over. Even though Dashrath is going to retire, then Kausalya will take over. Then she will treat you badly as an, servant and things like that. She started attacking. After that, parallelly, she also started telling about Bharata. What will happen to Bharata? Have you thought about it? Bharata will never get a chance to become the king. He will always be under the shelter of Ram. So where is the future for Ram? So she started attacking this way. So you could see that how much ever we are protected, but there are times where we'll become weak. This is how this material world is. This is how the desires are. When our personal kin and kith and kin are attacked, at that time we soften our stand. So there was a little change in Kaikeyi's mood. How do you say this? So she started explaining that you will finally become the maid servant of Kausalya, and Bharata will become the servant of Ram. So by this kind of talk, Kaikeyi was slowly softening, and now she totally forgot about the relationship of Ram, even Dasharath Maharaj. So now a plan, okay, I see you have got a point, but how can I take this forward? Now Mantara comes and says, you remember the old war? When the war was taking place, she had helped you in that war. She helped your chariot. So at that time, Dasharath Maharaj had promised two boons, that whatever you want, I'll give you. But Kaikeyi said, no, no, my dear Lord, I don't require. When I want, I will think about it. But she was a dedicated husband. So she did not take. Now is the time for you to take these two boons. Well, Kaikeyi was actually a little taken aback. Oh, this, my Mantara has a definite plan. She has come out with a plan. So that means the well-wisher, slowly a servant became a well-wisher than the king or the most dearest son whom Kaikeyi was always thinking of Ram. So everything went off. So this is what is Jada Buddhi or Jati Buddhi. When we identify ourselves with the body, then our mind relates, or it becomes kind of a skin disease. However we are, in whatever position we are, there is a tendency to go in that direction. There are many cases where you can see that Diti had this problem. So when she had a desire, she is asking for a desire which fulfilled, with Karnama didn't want to, Kashyapa didn't want to fulfill it. Fulfill that desire, and she got into problem. So this has happened many places where Draupadi did make a mistake, retracted, and who else? There are so many examples are there, but for a period of time they did change and they did come back. So that is the quality of the Vaishnavas or great devotees of Lord. If there is, even Parvati for that matter, but there was some small distraction and they come back. So in this case, also you can see that slowly Kaikeyi slipped and fell for the words, sweet words of Mantara, and she accepted, okay, I think what you're telling is true, and I will ask. So now she has another plan, Mantara. You can't be like this. You have to distort yourself. You have to take out your hairs, throw the jewels here. All the planning is done by Mantara. So that two kind of, you can see, there is well-wishers like this. There is also well-wishers like Vidura, right? So many, Yudhishthir, you can find Narada Muni, you can find Uddhava, many extraordinary devotees who are also well-wishers. Now, if you see the well-wishers, one who works in the interest of individual, keeping the spiritual aspect, Supreme Lord in picture. And there are other kind of well-wishers who only assert to the personal greed, the personal touch of, but it's not based on Shastra. So, in our real lives also, we have to be very careful when we are moving in this direction. A little out of the subject matter, I'll come back. Now let's understand what is Ramayana. Ramayana means Rama's journey. Rama who has a journey. So the whole of Rama's journey came out Ramayana, where the bad was outpowered by the good. But in the process, there was some disturbance, but it took time. So the journey of all of us is like that. Each one, by our destined, what happens in previous life, we take shelter of a mother and there we grow. So till we are in the mother's womb, we don't know who we are. But when delivery happens, then gradually, when the child grows, it identifies with so and so. So you could see the difference that the soul, which came from somewhere, suddenly started identifying with what it gets contact with. So from this point, you can see that the soul was never Dasa Das Das. So that means in this world, other than Purusha, Krishna, there is no other Purusha. There is only one Purusha, and everything is Prakriti, which is to be enjoyed by Purusha. So it may appear for us that we are in a male body or in a female body, but from the spiritual viewpoint, we are all in the same level. So from the Shastra, what we can understand is the first word it says, Matru Devo Bhava. So a mother is equated here to a Devata. Matru Devo Bhava. Next comes a Pitru Devo Bhava. Now if you analyze Matru Devo Bhava and Pitru Devo Bhava, the amount of the strength, what is there in Matru is not there in Pitru, in the material aspect. The reason is Bhudevi is the mother. She's carrying all of us. So when she is disturbed, she goes to Brahma, and from there she goes to Vishnu. And in that way, they are protected. And mother, we can attribute many, many characters, many good qualities. Only good qualities are there. And she is the one who always gives. She is always one who protects. She is the one who does not take anything in return. So you can go on explaining about the characters of women, and you can see that it is unbelievable that so many characters can be attributed to women. So what point I'm highlighting here is that when it's a feminine character, it is not substandard, it is all in equal terms, whether it's male body or female body. Sometimes we are in male body, sometimes we are in female body. So we have to identify, okay, now I'm in a female body. But the soul by itself is independent of the body itself. Because the three modes of nature, three gunas are there, the moment we attach ourselves to a particular body, we will be acting in that direction. So, but from the viewpoint of what Lord Chaitanya said, from Nityananda, you can understand mother and father are only Krishna himself. Krishna Mata, Krishna Pita, Krishna Mora Pran. So he very clearly says. So from this viewpoint, we are very clear that Krishna is our protector, even though we are in a female body, dependent on the male body, we may think, but ultimately Purusha is only Krishna. And ultimately we are from his body. We are coming out from there. So if at all, I'm making a statement, kindly serious, you can contemplate. You have a serious, your present position, you have a only responsibility only towards in the present scenario, but you are not obligated. Your obligation is only towards Guru and Krishna. Now you may ask, the question is, oh, how can you say that? But this is what Shastra say when he says Krishna Mata, Krishna Pita. But when Srila Prabhupada was explaining that when we are in a women's body, there are certain duties what we are doing, certain duties we will do in a male's body. So if that were to be that women's body is, it's a secondary, then the exalted people like Krishna expanding to Radharani or Lakshmi's, all this becomes void. So from that viewpoint, if you take that, so both male and female are in the same category. One is sitting in the male body, one is sitting in the female body. But now coming back to the responsibility, this responsibility was executed by everyone, every great Vaishnavi who are wives who are sitting in the women's body. But you could see that if the spiritual understanding, if they go by that, then they don't have a problem. Let's say Aditi and Diti. So Diti's come to the senses, whereas Aditi didn't. So like that, you can take many examples. And we have Sita, we have Draupadi, we have Kunti, we have so many, Ahalya, so many. But some of them, Ahalya for a matter, she did slip, but she came back. So like that, you can identify many exalted Vaishnavis, some correction in their life. At the same time, when that was corrected, and they became all right. So why I am trying to say is, the presently you have been traveling in this body, the family around you, you're taking care of them. Well, that's a responsibility, goes on. Now, it's not an obligation, I'm telling. The reason is because we are obligated only to Krishna. Now, Krishna has his own ways of doing things. Okay. Now, all the responsibilities, if you see all these exalted people, whether it's Parvati, Lakshmi, Mandodari, all these people, they took care of their present family perfectly well. But their consciousness was always related with Supreme Lord. The moment you leave this body, you should be going there. So this episode of understanding this, you can go from Mahabharata in different places. It will emphasize that Mukunda is the only person who can save us. That doesn't mean we are rejecting anybody. I'm not telling that. But now Prabhupada gives a very nice example for us to make progress in Krishna consciousness. He says that when a woman serving the husband, she serves nicely. At the same time, she has a lover elsewhere. So, while serving perfectly as a responsibility, but her main thinking is always thinking about Krishna. So, in the present situation for all of us, we execute our responsible day-to-day duties in such a way that everybody is happy and you're doing according, but at the same time, your progress, your journey should be slowly how you will climb up towards Krishna's interest. So now that's how I'm talking about obligation. So if you think that this is the ultimate, this is what is, then you can analyze in many places that people who are dependent on these aspects, they have suffered quite a lot. So if you take example of the Mahabharata also, when everybody was walking, and when back to when they left the palace and they retired, They were all going, and slowly, one by one, everybody fell off. So when Draupadi fell, nobody came back. So they were still going. So at the same time, when we spiritually empower ourselves, gradually our Atma becomes stronger connected with Guru and Krishna. And when we leave this world, we will not have the attachments here. So this is a common factor for both men and women. But the responsibility, the duty of a Vaishnava is called as a Dharma Patni. So she has to perform certain things which has to go just like a father does. So this is what I'm trying to highlight is, you all have been doing great service. You're also taking care of families. At the same time, when we start studying the Shastra, the characters, these exalted characters, these characters should register in your heart that what you want to be. So that could be internal. It's not external. I'm not bringing here men versus women. No. That's why I told you there is only Prakriti. There is only Purusha. But the bottom line is both of them are going towards Krishna. So if you see the third canto in the earlier chapter where Krishna is talking about Uddhava is speaking about the spiritual world, about Vaikuntha, in that he explains, Prabhupada also explains in those purports, what is exactly in Vaikuntha, what is happening. So he explains there is Viman, there is husband and wife, everything is going on there. But the only difference is what we have here and there, they're only talking about Krishna, nobody else, but still they are husband and wife. So when we talk about here in the material world, it is a replica, but it's inverted. The priorities could be different. So the moment we come up to Krishna consciousness and come in the parampara, so we have to take this medicine also, that there will be a time where this family may not travel with us for long. I have to take my own way. So this is what the Shastra, whether it is Ramayana, Mahabharata, the Puranas, they are all helping us to cement our relationship, which is eternal with Krishna. At the same time, it also helps us to execute the present duties perfectly. Okay, any unmatured way of doing things will land up in problems. So this Prabhupada's formula about thinking about Krishna and doing all our service perfectly is the medicine for us, especially for women. Prabhupada very clearly said, your sadhana to the men, you are relaxed. If your children are there, he said, you can chant later. These are there, children are first. Very clear Prabhupada was. He adored the Matajis quite a bit. He gave them very important positions. So I'm not undermining anything. I'm just trying to highlight that our duty, who's sitting in a woman's body, also is obligated to Krishna. Responsibility is there in the present situation. But if that present situation continues, then we may get landed up in another body. So that is what happened with Puranjana. When he was thinking about the women so much, then the next body was, he was born a queen somewhere. So in Krishna conscious movement, Prabhupada's very nice explanation about all this, he is giving a window open to all of us to go back to Krishna. So when Prabhupada's wife also left, he was not bewildered, but he prayed. So everything in this life has some time, place, and circumstances. It's like a journey. People get up, people go. So it is, it's an ongoing. So it is not an eternal yatra, but eternal yatra is for the soul only, not for the body. But by mistake, if we distort there, then there is a chance that we have to take another body. So sometimes when in this progress, when we are going, we may do here and there. So when you start studying the Shastra, especially Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita, and if you analyze the characters, it will give you amount of strength, and you will be able to follow the great leaders like Kunti or Draupadi. And these pastimes are very enlivening and to the point, to the heart. So it directly goes there. So just like if you take Sati, for example, the amount of commitment she had to her husband who died early, she went to the hell and she fought with Yama and brought back. So the power of women is very, very strong. But at the same time, the power, the compassionate mood of mother is also on the very highest level. That is why repeated slot and difficulties in life, women are always in upper hand. They give us that strength. So they always say, every successful man has a woman behind this. So in this way, you can see that the responsibility and the obligation, I'm differentiating this. So you all have been there for a long time in ISKCON, going on and on and on. Life is there. I know it's very difficult. But in the process, when we are studying this Shastra, you have to put a little extra effort to understand the feminine character. So when you understand this, then it becomes easier. Like Tulsi Maharani, what was her position? So this again a responsibility I'm talking about, not an obligation. Even though she was a great devotee of Vishnu, but the present scenario, she was in that body, she was wedded to somebody. She was also a Pativrata, and her husband could not be killed. Vishnu himself has to distort. So now that particular pastime can enlighten us that if I'm thinking of Vishnu and Vishnu comes to take me away, what else we want? So this is the point which I'm trying to make. So further, now let's come back to the situation where I left. I hope you got it. Now coming back to the real scenario where now Dashrath Maharaj comes. So first thing he already Kausalya knows, Sumitra knows, now comes Kaikeyi. And he was very confident that she will be very, very happy to receive this knowledge, this happy news. So he comes and sees whole palace is in darkness, nothing is visible, everything is thrown apart, and a perfect drama was enacted there by the good well-wisher of Mantara, well-wisher to Kaikeyi, and it was beyond imagination. What happened now? Dashrath Maharaj was completely bewildered. The moment he saw this, he didn't know that this is the truth. So he was thinking something else. But when he came, he saw his wife was lying down, all her hair was spread up, and she was in a morose mood. And he said, "My dear queen, what happened? Is everything okay? Are you fine? Is your health?" So all that, but she was not ready to accept. So I'll just read this particular point from the Valmiki Ramayana. It says, the unflinching Kaikeyi, who had given up all affection for her husband, see, he uses the word, saw that her ends were not still achieved. She was completely convinced by a Mantara. Kaikeyi could not accept Dashratha's entreaties. In a disdainful, harsh voice, she addressed the fallen monarch. "Where now your king?" He says that you have making the Ram as the king. And what happens to my son? So now she starts talking about that, and she says, now you have to fulfill this promise to me. What does she say? She says this, that Kaikeyi spoke impassively. He says, I only asked for to fulfill your promise. Two boons she's asking. One is, she's asking Ram should go to forest. 7 plus 7, 14 years. And my son should be the king. The calculation is like this. How was the calculation of Mantara, these 14 years? That is also something to be, meditated upon. She says, 7 years to 7 years, even the body, this one changes according to medical understanding. So she says, in 14 years, Bharata will be so expert, gradually he will get all the people will forget Ram. So that was the idea of 14 years Mantara explaining to Kaikeyi. So in that way they are asking for. So when she says that Ram has to go to forest and Bharata should be anointed. So she says, why do you now lie down dejected? So the moment she asks this, Dasharath Maharaj falls down. He says, what's this? Suddenly he is, anybody can be bewildered. Thank God he didn't have a heart attack, but he had it later. But he was fully finished. So now what he's telling is the educated Kaikeyi, knowing her husband to be devoted to religion, now she attacks him by dharma. She says, you are the personification of dharma. So you have given a word to me. So you have to fulfill it. Why are you going backwards? O king, he says, this is your duty. Truth, you have to support. Therefore, set your mind on truth. Word great. Send Rama to the forest. Look at the words. When Mantara came, she gave her the diamonds, the jewelry. Hearing Rama's going to be the king. And now the same Kaikeyi completely changed. She says Rama should be banished. What a transformation. So this is what? Sangas Sangayate Jati. This is the main difficulty in our life. If we do not have proper association, then this is what is going to all of us. So even among devotees, you have to be very careful whom you are going to be associating with. What kind, because these characters, a person's behavior, you can easily make out, because in the sense what is shown in the Shastra, everything is clear. We are supposed to follow Kunti, we are supposed to follow Draupadi. All these characters are all there. When they are not matured enough, then they should be educated. So it takes time. So when you become responsible in life, then you have to adore these good qualities in us and also show that you can, follow the Shastra that way. So many will be coming towards, even Prabhupada disciples, many were Westerners, but they took up that responsibility of being the main leaders. You can say Malati Mataji, so many with their Rukmani Mataji, so many exalted people, they adopted what Prabhupada wanted. So this is why I'm highlighting is Guru and Krishna both. So most of your initiated devotees. So you have an obligation towards your Guru and the institution. It's not only the family aspects or other things around, that's all fine. Nobody is going to go against that. But at the same time, some time has to be towards Guru and Krishna's service also should be there. How you do it is in your hands, it's not in my hands. So as you mature in your devotional service, an obligation towards serving the mission of Prabhupada is also there. So nowhere I'm misdirecting. I'm trying to see that, yes, make some space in your heart for the institution, because there are a lot of people who are going to follow you. So that's 100% there. The new generation that are coming, they're going to ask you. Many of you are caregivers, you are the wife of caregivers, they will all come and ask you. So when we are following in the Vaishnava Dharma, we also have to adhere the Vaishnava qualities. So in this regard, see what happened to Kaikeyi, a little association with a person who are adulterated person, she completely changed. So it's a great danger for us to be in association of people whom we don't know. it could be our parents, it could be our relatives, it could be our friends. When they don't contribute towards our progress in Krishna consciousness, then a minimum friendship would be the best. But if our children, our parents, our husbands, if they are all devotees, you have nothing to fear. So I am making a strong point is, you have to dig yourself into the Shastra and go detail about these characters and see where you fit in, where these characters fit in. Yeah, there is an attempt which we can try, but at the same time, because we are the Dasanudasa following in the footstep of Radharani, by her mercy, by the mercy of Tulsi that every day you're watering, will allow you to make progress. Because we don't want to go in this way of Kaikeyi. What is Kaikeyi? Next she says that Kaikeyi stood up with her string ornament, her eyes flashed, has made her husband's demand to the king. 3 times you promised. Therefore, 3 times I ask you, fulfill my wish, make him the king, send Ram away to the woods. These alone will satisfy me. And so what does the Valmiki Ramayana says, that clearly says that a unscrupulous Kaikeyi maintained her pressure on him, and Dasharath could see that in no ways he could console her, and she was well determined. Now Dasharath plays another, he has a request. Now he has accepted, all right, I will accept your one, I will make Bharata the king. But let Ram live with us. What has he done to you? Why he should go to forest? So let him live with us. He will serve Bharata. He has no problem. Pitru Palaka, he is first and foremost is Ramachandra Bhagavan. He's the one who followed his father like anything. Whatever he said, he would do it. So he is the emblem of that one who follows Dharma, Dharma Dipari. So she is requesting her, please let him stay back. But again, Kaikeyi was adamant. So this material world is like that. It's somehow our desires will contribute towards this kind of distortion. Sometimes we become adamant. So I don't know how much time I have. Somebody can help me out.
Prabhuji, you can carry on.
How much time I have?
Another 5 minutes, Prabhuji.
Okay, fine. So, but I have room for question and answers. Is it okay?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. So now, but she is not willing to give. So look at that, the same kid who was adorned by Kaikeyi, she was today adamant to send him off. So from passion, from love to cruelty. So it can happen. This is what is material world is. So every time we think of something which is good, later on the same thing, turns out to be bitter. So you can see many instances from the past times of the Lord. You can find that the association of uncharactered, unprincipled yield to distress. So it's a great opportunity for all of you. You have done a great service by coming through this Zoom. And for 1 month, 2 months, you have been going through. Each of you have analyzed the characters, I'm sure, and wonderfully, expressed each one's character of. I think each Sita. I was seeing many of the names there. At the same time, you have done many other programs also. But my request is, you have a great responsibility towards ICC, which is growing as a community. It has newcomers coming in. At the same time, temple depend on your mercy to give them so that they also become good human beings. And we create a community where Krishna becomes the center and everybody can be happy and go back to Godhead. I rest my case here, open for reflections. I forgot to mention one point, which is last point. Please forgive me. I was talking about the soul support, which I was talking the journey of the soul. So just like for a human body, I cannot eat for the other person. In the same way, everyone has to survive. They have to eat for themselves. Okay? Huh? In the same way, everybody has to breathe. So that somebody else cannot breathe for you. So in the same way, spiritual life is something we have to consume ourselves. Okay? Somebody else cannot do it for us. They can pray for us. So this is the summum bonum of the point where every jiva has to breathe, every jiva has to consume, every jiva has to understand, realize, reflect, and go back to God. Thank you very much.